the Democrat Party that pretends to oppose Russia. The same Democrat Party whose great hero, Barack Obama, was an appeaser to Vladimir Putin, who did nothing when the Russians interfered in our election because he thought Hillary Clinton would win and he didn't want to taint her victory. The same Barack Obama who withheld offensive military weaponry from the Ukrainian government while it was being invaded by Vladimir Putin in Russia. The same Barack Obama who didn't lift a finger when the Russians annexed Crimea and invaded Ukraine. Not a finger. That party claims to be tough on Russia. The same Democrat Party that when Hillary Clinton and the DNC laundered money through a Democrat law firm, laundered money through a Democrat Fusion GPS run by former journalists, of course, and did in fact collude with Russians to lie about candidate Trump and push that information into the FBI and push that information into the CIA and push that information into the State Department and into the media. That Democrat Party pretends to be anti-Russia. They've learned a lot from the old Soviet Union. They turned the victim into the perpetrator. They criminalized politics. Schumer, Pelosi, the media, the Democrats pushing like hell for a special counsel. Rod Rosenstein, a bureaucrat, weak, pathetic, buckles under the pressure, even though he violates Department of Justice regulations in the appointment of a special counsel. The special counsel searches wide and far, including 13 countries, hundreds of subpoenas, hundreds of witnesses, hundreds of thousands of pages of documents. Not once did the President of the United States assert any privilege that other presidents have asserted. They had access to every witness, every document, every email, every text message. Nothing. Zero. No Russia collusion. And yet the Democrats pretend that they're defending the Constitution. The Democrats pretend that they're anti-Russia when they trashed Reagan, who defeated the Soviet Union, when they trashed Reagan's national security policies and his foreign policies, when they celebrated Obama and Obama's appeasement. And Obama didn't lift a finger to help the people of Ukraine. Not a finger. Obama didn't lift a finger to prevent the Russians from interfering in our election in 2016. He didn't lift a finger. And they lecture us, and they claim to defend the Constitution. The same party that eviscerates the United States military. The same party that turns our military into a social experiment. Claim to stand for national security. The same party that treats the funding of the military as it treats the funding of food stamps. The same party that wants our borders wide open to anybody who manages to come into this country, as long as they'll vote Democrat, tells you that they stand for national security and the rule of law. And now, since all that failed, $40 million, a 500-page report, a special counsel, 17 assistant special counsel, not one conservative Republican among them. An assorted group of malcontents and miscreants, Democrats, donors. Nothing. Nothing. And as the House Judiciary Committee and the media tried to turn it into something, they failed. Then they bring in their great witness, Robert Mueller. The media have told us this is the Messiah. Nobody dares to question Robert Mueller. I mean, after all, he served in Vietnam. He was a Republican. He was head of the FBI. He was a U.S. attorney. Nobody questions him. Now, you can trash Bill Barr all you want. You can trash Michael Flynn all you want. Don't worry about their past service. None of that matters. But not Mueller. Mueller comes up there. Obviously, he's got a loose screw at 5. It fails. So they hatch another plot. This so-called whistleblower didn't come to them. They created him. He'd been in the Obama National Security Council. He'd worked with the worst of the worst. He worked with Vindman. He worked with 2 individuals who would eventually become staffers to Adam Schiff. He worked closely with Joe Biden. He worked closely with John Brennan. He's an activist, Democrat, leftist, dressed up as a CIA operative. And there he is at the National Security Council. And at least one report indicates he was removed because they were concerned he might be a leaker. All of a sudden, at the end of July, we get a complaint filed by this individual. What's his name again, Rich? You know I'm going to ask you 4 billion times. Eric, what is it? Ciaramella. I'm writing it down now. Eric Ciaramella. Eric Ciaramella, who to this day won't come on this program, nor will his lawyers, to state that it's not him. So it's him, unless he states otherwise. All of Washington, the whole press corps, all of Washington, the entire Congress, all of Washington knows it's Eric Ciaramella. But you're not allowed to say his name. Now, if you're innocent, you come forward and you say, it's not me. That's not hard to do. His lawyers have gone undercover. This guy Mark Zaid was everywhere, trashing me when I pointed out he was political. Then more dirt comes out on this clown that he wanted a coup. He called for a coup early on in the Trump presidency. And he got one. He got a client. Ciaramella meets with Schiff staffer. A Schiff staffer. Then 18 days later, he files a complaint through the whistleblower statute, even though he doesn't qualify as a whistleblower, even though his complaint doesn't qualify as a whistleblower complaint. I've read the damn statute. The president's not covered by it. The phone call's not covered by it. The so-called whistleblower's not a whistleblower. He doesn't get anonymity. He gets nothing. And yet in this circus, he's brave. He's courageous. But the American people are not allowed to know much about him. You can't even mention his name. Oh, history will treat us like the fools that we are. Trust me on this. Schiff lies to the American people. Lies. Looks into a television camera. Lies to millions of people. Knew nothing of this man beforehand. Neither did his staff. But they did. They know all about him. All about him. And his complaint, which has significant errors in many respects, includes clippings from newspaper headlines and information he was gathering about a phone call. And that's all they needed. So they moved from Russia to the Ukraine. The same party that backed the Soviet Union, the same party that would do nothing about the captive nations, including Ukraine. The same party that opposed giving strategic defense missile systems to Poland and the Czech Republic and other Eastern European countries, former captive nations. The same party that celebrates Barack Obama like a king, who caved to Putin regularly and did nothing for the Ukrainians. Now, they do a twofer. Not only do they claim the President of the United States is a toady for Russia's Putin, now they claim he was trying to choke off Ukraine when they needed help. The same Donald Trump, in his first year in office, gave the Ukrainians the offensive military weaponry that Obama withheld. The same Donald Trump, in his second year of office, gave the Ukrainians the offensive military weaponry that Obama withheld. The same Donald Trump, in his third year of office, gave the Ukrainians hundreds of millions in offensive military weapons that Obama withheld. But he waited 55 days. Because he said, wait a minute. This has been a corrupt regime. Where the hell's Germany and France? Why aren't they helping this government more? He told multiple people the same thing. Multiple people the same thing. But it's not good enough. It's not good enough. The Democrats want Donald Trump to have done something wrong, but he did nothing wrong. Zero. The phone call is evidence of nothing. Zero. The president of Ukraine says there was no pressure, there was no bribery, there was no quid pro quo. I didn't even know there was a 55-day hold on the money, but we got it. They can show no link whatsoever, no direct evidence, no hard, direct, first-hand evidence of any link. But it doesn't matter. The rule of the mob in the media, and the mob in the House of Representatives. This is not just the second attempt at impeachment. They've been looking for one hook after another. For one hook after another. And look how the House of Representatives under the Democrats and the House Intelligence Committee has conducted itself. They've created a fiction. There's been no offense against the Constitution, no crime, nothing. No evidence that supports impeachment, nothing. No legitimate process. They obstructed witnesses who were testifying. They obstructed the Republicans from calling witnesses. Not a single witness accused the President of the United States of bribery, extortion, high crimes, misdemeanors, and yet virtually all the witnesses had no direct information, and virtually all the witnesses were the Democrats' witnesses, and whatever the Republicans could get had to be approved by the Democrats. The so-called whistleblower? No. They said no. Schiff staff and their participation in the process? No. Schiff's participation in the process? No. No Hunter Biden. Nothing. Zero. But now they put out a report. 300 pages. At least it's shorter than the 500 pages Mueller put out. I'm not done. I'll be right back. The Democrat Party that